Hello and Allah to everyone. My name is Abbas Tamori. Time is 9:56. Today is I believe 24th of April, Friday. I had been away. The website was down when I was not around. Now everything is back together. The website is on. And I promised a few things to put on, one of which was a study of the critical study of the book called Gate to the Hearts. I did say I want to talk a little bit about more Persian grammar. It seems people are interested. But I had affairs to do. I'd received an email from Tim. He's perplexed by my videos on George Washington and on Abraham Lincoln as the two elders of God, bearing the question in his mind whether the universal laws of justice, or better to say the world order of Baha'u'llah, which the universal laws of justice is a component of, is it the only government in the world in the future of the planet? Is this the vision of the Baha'i faith? The answer is no, it is not. The Baha'i administration, which is the present phase of the world order of Baha'u'llah, that comes in future, where the local and the national assemblies turn into local house of justice and national house of justice. At the present time, there is no such things as the second arm of the Baha'i world order, which is the universal house of guardianship, for which I've been cast off from the Baha'i faith for postulating it. If there was anything, it would be called local house of elders and national house of elders. We don't have any of that yet anyways. If there were if this would have been acceptable with the Baha'is of the world, we would have, beside the local and national spiritual assembly, local and national house of elders. But we are not there yet. So in the future, there will be a universal house of guardianship, in where at the local and national level, they will change into the local universal house of guardianship and the local house of justice, and it become National House of Justice, and it become National House of Guardianship. So, and in the word will be Universal House of Guardianship. We are not there. But all of these, which are the two arms, Universal House of Guardianship for legislations, Universal House of Guardianship for interpretations, these two are the main two components of the world order of Baha'u'llah. All of this is not going to govern the planet. No. This is only one phase of the government in the Baha'i faith recognized phase. Let's see. So, at the very outset, I have to tell you that Shawi Effendi warns about the evil of the excessive centralization of our thinking at a future of a planet where only universal laws of justice is only the center of everything. That is exactly the evil he's warning us. Evil of the excessive centralization. So that can't be it. And the writing doesn't allow it. In the Baha'i faith, we clearly see that Baha'u'llah says the form of the government that he approves, he says, is that of the London. He uses the word London, Londonderry. Well, you know, he says the king is there and there are, you know, legislatures. He recognizes the republic system by the election, having a president. It would be more beneficial, but he yet says there has to be a king. He approves of that. So you can't imagine that the National House of National Spiritual Assembly of England would have to order the King of England or King of England has to obey them. What is the circumstances? So, but moreover, it is 100%, I'm going to bring the writing today, that we will see that even in the future, where the majority of the people in the country are the Baha'is, or in the world, Baha'i faith is the state religion. That's what the word is. Not the state government, but the state religion. Okay? This is where we stand on that. I'm going to bring these writings for you. But if you want to, go analyze this a bit more, we have to see what is this role of the religion in the life of the mankind. I always like to say that we have three phases of living. It's economy, it's social, and it's a spiritual. For the economical and the social order, Baha'u'llah did not go to jail. And he did not order 20,000 people to die for the cause of creating a better system of government in this world. That's what social government is. Or a good economy where everybody is sharing, some goodies. No, it's way beyond that. Baha'u'llah is coming, and the Baha'i faith, and all the religions for that matter, for the spiritual reason, which is way beyond this material living of mankind. It is well beyond this life. Their concern is for after this material existence of the body. That is what the Baha'i faith is all about. So, in this case, it does concentrate a lot on an individual. Balance, his balance, the balance in life that makes him happy, not stressed, not distressed. A balanced life, a happy life of a person in this living. But also getting prepared for the life after, for existence, I should say, not life, for existence after dying. Now, having said that, a lot of personal issues, it seems, is concentrated in the family. There's a physical womb in our mother where we grow up and we have all these hands and thighs and bodies and eyes and ears. Where our mother, if is not nourishing good, we might, born handicapped, or if there's some deficiencies. And in the same manner, after we are born, definitely there is a social womb, which is the family, where the mother and the father, for at least 15 years, which is the age of maturity in the Baha'i faith, a person has to be taken care of. This is where the realm of the Baha'i faith, this is the main concentration. Because that is what Baha'u'llah wants to create proper souls, balanced individuals, people that are useful to themselves and to society. And it requires a social womb. Okay, and that is family. The laws in the family has not been carried out by anyone in the planet in any level of skills, such as philosophers or scientists, lawmakers, name it, artists, if you will. It seems nobody listens to this kind of things. But everybody listens to the word of God, whether Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Muslim, Jewish, other religions. So it seems the family is basically governed by the rules of God, so-called, where the ethic comes in. Many people, they say, oh, we have no religion, but I still have good family. Because they're using the reservoirs of the past, okay? They may not say that, but actually they are religious. So that is where the Baha'i faith is, its concentration. But yet there are other rules, such as what to do with adultery, what to do with arsonists, and so on. It definitely spills over the family into the mainstream of society. Who's to execute these laws? Actually put a person in gallows. Who's going to do that? Local Spiritual Assembly, National Spiritual Assembly, National House of Justice in future? No. Definitely not. There would be a different type of government. In a Baha'i government, which we have heard of in the writing of Shoghi Effendi, calls it Commonwealth. It is still a Baha'i government, but does not carry order from the local or national houses of justice in a city, in a country, or in the world. They don't. But yet the conscience of the individuals, being a Baha'i in the majority, it actually is ruled by Baha'u'llah. It is ruled by the local and national spiritual assemblies. But there's a limit to their power over the individuals. I mean by that, a spiritual power. So, this is one of the writing where it says Baha'i administration would really become an state religion. This is from the World Order of Baha'u'llah. It says, not only will the present day spiritual assemblies be styled differently in future, but they will be enabled also to add their present functions, those powers, duties, and prerogatives necessitated by the recognition of the faith of Baha'u'llah, not merely as one of the recognized religious system of the world, but as the state religion of an independent and sovereign power. So, Baha'i faith in all its components become a state religion in a country, but it's not the state government. When we come to the state government, really, we have different writings that deals with that, and it actually tells us that an example of it is actually the present United States of America. It's strange, eh? Let's read. True civilization will unfurl its banner in the midmost heart of the world whenever a certain number of its distinguished and high-minded sovereign, shining exemplars of the devotion and determination, shall, for the good and the happiness of mankind, arise with firm resolve and clear visions to establish the cause of the universal peace. They must make the cause of the peace the object of the general consultations, and seek by every means in their power to establish a union of nations of the world. They must conclude a binding treaty and establish a covenant, the provision of which shall be sound, inviolable, and definite. They must proclaim it to all the world and obtain for it the sanction of all human race. This supreme and noble undertaking, the real source of the peace and well-being of all the world, should be regarded as sacred. Please pay attention. What he said right now, Abdu'l-Baha here, quoted by Shoghi Effendi in the book World Order of Baha'u'llah, does not talk about the Baha'is or assembly. There's no role of assembly here. It talks about prominent people in the world to do this. But he says, though, should be regarded as sacred. This is holy. Not just the local spiritual assembly and national universal, but also such union in the Baha'i faith is called as holy. Should be regarded as sacred by all that dwells on earth. By all. See, not just the Baha'is, but all. All the forces of humanity must be mobilized to ensure the stability and the permanence of this most great covenant. It explains furthermore. In this all-embracing pact, the limit and the frontiers of each and every nation should be clearly fixed. The principle underlying the relationship of the governments towards one another definitely laid down, and all the international agreements and obligations ascertained. In like manner, the size of the armament of every government should be strictly limited, for if the Preparations for war and the military forces of any nation should be allowed to increase, they will arouse the suspicion of others. The fundamental principle underlying the solemn pact should be so fixed that if any government later violate any one of its provisions, all the governors of the earth should arise to reduce it to utter submission. Nay, the human race as a whole should resolve with every power at its disposal to destroy that government. So, when we're talking right now, a type of a United Nation that, maybe you can say this United Nation definitely cannot be called that, because many countries such as China or Russia or England or America, they have the veto power over the other nation, which is not fair. But such a system is being recognized as being holy, and it doesn't say the Baha'is are going to do that. This is the government, governors, principals, maybe kings, prime ministers, whoever is at the head of the states come together to create such a thing. That is also holy. Otherwise, in the Baha'i faith, it's called lesser peace. The lesser peace is the foundation of the great peace, which is the spiritual peace. But the lesser peace is holy if it's undertaken by other people. So all of a sudden, we as a Baha'i, our social role spills over the Baha'i faith with the others if they share some opinions that are fundamentals in the Baha'i faith, isn't it? So this all tells us that there are different types of government, more than what we know. And then of course I have written myself something here on the page. Let's actually read some more to see what exactly this world universal government is in the Baha'i faith. It is again in the same book, World Order of Baha'u'llah. It has a world super state. Listen to this. Over 60 years ago, in his tablets to Queen Victoria, Baha'u'llah, addressing the concourse of the rulers of the earth, revealed the following. Take ye counsel together, and let your concern be only for that which profiteth mankind, and bettereth the condition thereof. Regard the world as the human body, which, though created whole and perfect, has been afflicted through diverse causes with grave ill and maladies. Not for one day did it rest, nay, its sickness waxed more severe, as it fell under the treatment of the unskilled physicians, who have spurred on the steed of their worldly desire, and have erred grievously. And if at one time, through the care of an able physician, a member of that body was healed, the rest remained afflicted as before. Thus informeth you, the all-knowing, the all-wise. That which the Lord had ordained as the sovereign remedy and mightiest instrument for the healing of the world is the union of all its people in one universal cause, one common faith. This can in no wise be achieved except through the power of a skilled and all-powerful and inspired physician. This verily is the truth, and all else naught but error. And a further passage, Baha'u'llah adds these words. We see you adding every year unto your expenditure and laying the burden thereof on the people whom you rule. This verily is naught but a grievous injustice. Fear the sighs and the tears of this wronged one, and burden not your people beyond that which they can endure. Be reconciled among yourselves, that ye may need armament no more, save in a measure to safeguard your territories and dominions. Be united, O conquerors of the sovereigns of the world, for thereby will the tempest of discord be stilled amongst you, and your people rest. Should anyone among you take up arms against another, rise ye all against him, for this is not but a manifest justice. Then Shoghi Effendi explains, what else could these weighty words signify, if they did not point to the inevitable curtailment of an unfettered national sovereignty as an indispensable preliminary to the formation of the future commonwealth of all the nations of the world. Then he explains, some form of a world superstate must needs be evolved, in whose favor all the nations of the world will have willingly ceded every claim to make war, certain rights to impose taxation, and all right to maintain armament, except for the purpose of maintaining internal order. Within their respective dominions, such a state will have to include within its orbit an international executive. This is not universal laws of justice. This international executive is something else. Adequate to enforce supreme and unchallengeable authority on every recalcitrant member of the Commonwealth. A world parliament, whose members shall be elected by the people in their respective countries. Well, definitely this world parliament is not the universal laws of justice or universal laws of guardianship. It has nothing to do with the Baha'i faith here. I continue. A world parliament whose members shall be elected by the people in their respective countries, and whose election shall be confirmed by their respective governments, and a supreme tribunal whose judgment will have a binding effect. Continues, such indeed appears in its broadest outline the order anticipated by Baha'u'llah, an order that shall come to be regarded as the fairest fruit of a slowly maturing age. So we could just see that clearly. These orders of Shoghi Effendi and the Baha'i writing is pointing towards some other administrations, some other government. Now, I'm going to have to say a few things here. Let me conclude actually before I say that, to see that, okay, who among the people of the world right now, there are a lot of people on the planet, who among all the people of the world actually is heading towards this commonwealth, this things that Shoghi Effendi is asking us to do. There's a lot to say here about Americans and America, okay? This is in another page here, beside the one I'm going to read, but this one is here too. I'm going to read this. A standard of the most great peace, the American people are indeed worthy of being the first to build the tabernacle of the great peace and proclaim the oneness of mankind. May America become the distributing center of the spiritual enlightenment, and all the world receive this heavenly blessing, for America has developed powers and capacities greater and more wonderful than other nations. May the inhabitant of this country become like the angels of the heaven, with faces turned continually towards God. May all of them become servants of the Omnipotent One. May they rise from their present material attainments to such a height that heavenly illumination may stream forth from this center to all the people of the world. If you listen to previous videos about George Washington being the elder of Baha'u'llah and the angel that he saw the diadem, a blue color on the forehead of that angel, which was saying unity, you can see that person is the Baha'i faith, and Abdu'l-Baha, as he speaks here. This American nation is equipped with empowered to accomplish that which will adorn the pages of the history, to become the envy of the world and to be blessed in both East and the West for the triumph of its people. The American continent gives signs and evidences of a very great advancement. Its future is even more promising, for its influence and illuminations are far-reaching. It will lead all nations spiritually. Now, one other official asked Abdu'l-Baha, how do I help my country? This is what Abdu'l-Baha says. A high official in the service of the federal government of the United States of America who had questioned him, that is Abdu'l-Baha, as to the best manner in which could promote the interest of his government and the people. Abdu'l-Baha explains, if you strive in your capacity as a citizen of the world to assist in the eventual applications of the principles of federalism underlying the government of your own country, to the relationships now existing between the people and the nations of the world. Basically telling them that establish what you have done in America and the rest of the world. So you see, American nation, as we know it and as it is actually approved in the Baha'i faith. Now, we do have a lot of negative things about America as well. I've read it many places that Shoghi Effendi says we are witnessing the fall of the Roman Empire in America. I am looking for one of my paper that I wrote down here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. There's a lot of things about America. If you go to it is in the Baha'i writing. So these are some of the things, Little wonder that from the same unerring pen there should have flowed after Abdu'l-Baha's memorable visit to the West these often quoted words of Abdu'l-Baha. The continent of America, he announced in a tablet, unveiling his divine plan to the believers residing in the northeastern states of American Republic, he says, is the eyes of the one true God. The land wherein the splendors of his light shall be revealed, where the mysteries of his fate shall be unveiled, where the righteous will abide and the free assemble. May this American democracy, he himself, while in America, was heard to remark, be the first nation to establish the foundation of the international agreement. May be the first nation to proclaim the unity of mankind. So, we can see that, therefore, Baha'i faith is a state religion. There is definitely other type of government beside what we know as universal laws of justice and whatnot. And the great example of it is the United States, where it's going. Clearly, Shoghi Effendi says, it is a perfect system. The only problem that it has, it is in region of the earth. It has to be established all over the world. In that case, it would be a perfect one. So, in one of my previous videos, under the national Baha'i government, at the national and international level, I have had a videos. If you like, you can go and listen to the rest of it to see. So what is the relationship of the Baha'is and Baha'i administration to these other governments, so-called? It works like this. We have a social life, we have a spiritual life, all of us. And the Baha'i faith, it says that we should not interfere in politics. Politics will not exist in the future as it is right now, but policies are there. There will be a lot of policies, and politicians, if you want to call them, they will be more like political scientists, that they bring these policies. Now, it is abundantly evident that no country in the world, unless it's very small, to be fully made out of the Baha'is. There will be minorities no matter what. So what are we doing as a Baha'is? We're going to push those poor people, whoever they are, whatever they believe in, Muslims or Jews, to be ruled by the Baha'is in a dictatorial way? No. That's not the case. What happens is this. The Baha'is, for their special consciousness, for their life, for their happiness, for their belief, they participate in election of forming local and national and universal house of guardianships. All the Baha'i things. But they have a separate life beside that. In a country, which I've drawn already kind of a draft of a national constitution of a future of a Baha'i government, the Baha'is, then they elect their own president, sharing with the non-Baha'is in the same country. A non-Baha'i could be elected as a president. But remember, the conscience of that government, majority of them are Baha'is, is the national house of justice in that country. Because they're Baha'is majority, they would never legislate that drinking is allowed. Never. It would be in a compromise way for those who want, probably, in a not a manner of dictatorial way, but in a manner of scientific way. I've explained. They have different rules. There are even whorehouses, but they're not in the vicinities of the city where people live. So the innocent is protected. So the conscience and the mind and the soul of Baha'u'llah rules the country. But beyond the local and national houses of justice, it will go to the mainstream of the road. In a local country, they have laws, bylaws. Baha'u'llah hasn't come to die to establish these things. We people can. But when we're not Baha'is, we don't have a Baha'i conscience. When we do these things, usually it fails. It doesn't work. Just a matter of being a Baha'i, believing in those main frame of life. If you all get together to form a company, a business, it would naturally be different. It has the Baha'i spirit in it. You would not tax evade, you would not cheat, you would not sell bad things, you would not make bad things. Because the moment you do that, you get an order from the local house of justice that Mr. So-and-so, you are producing goods that are not good for mankind. That person, being a Baha'i, would listen willingly, out of willingness, not force. There's no force. So there will be such relationship. The non-Baha'is, they can't vote for assemblies, elections, or any Baha'i organizations. But sharing with the Baha'is, they can form government, elections and all that. So this also goes wrong. Much like the system of the Pope in Europe. There was a Pope. That was the real government of the conscience of the people, of the kings even. They would see them as a holy father, the Pope. But they had their own countries. Pope didn't know how to do it. They would interfere in the government to the way that they shouldn't. And as a result, they killed one of them and they put them in one place in Europe and they reduced them outside of the politics. But they were a binding power at one point. In the Baha'i faith, such situation may arise in certain countries. But it shouldn't. because the national, local and universal laws of justice is working within the framework of the Baha'i faith and what is revealed. They do not go outside of it. They don't rule the non-Baha'is, not at all, absolutely not. They would defend the Baha'is against non-Baha'is. They take the right with the non-Baha'is if they have encountered. But they don't go out of their way to tell the Muslim that they should not have hijab. Baha'is, they would not do that. They're not supposed to. They rule spiritually the mind and the soul of the Baha'is, not the non-Baha'is. However, when the majority of the people in a country, let's say Canada or Australia, they become Baha'i, there will be a Baha'i government. That Baha'i government, which we have read a few things for you, it has parliament and all that in the world, and they understand that the state religion in that country is the Baha'i faith. It rules over all the individuals, mind and soul, spiritually. Okay? And as such, the Baha'is, they go outside of the parameter of those administration. They enter into social and economical stages and administration and formulated it with that Baha'i scent in it. But all of this, having said all of these things, this topic is wide open. I just brought you a few parameters of it that for sure, the city hall of the future is not local house of justice. The future government of Canada is not the National Spiritual Assembly, National House of Justice of Canada. It's not. And the universal government of the world is not the Universal House of Justice. It's not. It's not designed to. But the world order of Baha'u'llah, as Shaykh Effendi said, the Universal House of Justice pointed to, it goes well beyond what we know as administration. It can include a world government. We call it lesser peace. That has to be established, believe it or not, by the non-Baha'is. Based upon that, we have the greater peace. The time where the power of universal laws of justice and the national laws of justice becomes really, as Shaykh Effendi said, plentitude. Have plenty of power over. But this power again is spiritual. They're not ordering people how to make a road, how to build a road, what's the building code, what do we do with the national resources, sell to this country, or how to do contract business. None of that is their business, and they would not interfere. But they do say, when you do business, you have to be fair and right and just. And if there are injustices made by a Baha'i against a non-Baha'i, they will interfere to take the right of the non-Baha'i against the Baha'i, or vice versa. I hope this brief account, which is actually nothing but continuations of what I had said before, in the relationship of man with his city, with his nation, and with his world, where we got the national government, Baha'i national Baha'i government, universal Baha'i government, and local Baha'i government. I've done that in those videos in the previous one. Allah Akbar, see you next time.